Time for recent reads. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zach with Zacks Books and welcome to 2023. It is my first video of the new year. Yay! In today's video I'm going to be doing a recent reads. I read I've got 4 physical books, but I have 5 books I'm going to talk about. The other one, Danielle lent to a friend. Hopefully a dog does not attack this one. And yeah, got some 5 books. We'll link them down below. If you want to take a look down there, we also got the podcast, 2023 goals. We are trying to get back onto doing that every single week for you guys. 52 episodes of the year. And Bookstagram, all that other fun stuff. Danielle's channel, of course, get her to 1K. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into the books. Alright, I'll get the book out of the way that I do not have with me. I'm going to talk about All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers. This book I gave, what I ended up giving it? It was like 4 stars. It was like 4.5 stars or something like that. It's basically the John Benet Ramsey case. I'm up front just saying that. That is the best way to probably describe the plot. Obviously, I'm going to do it with these characters. So we're following, there's a 25-year gap. We're following a journalist named Margot, and this is present day. And she is studying a murder case for a girl named Natalie Clark. She was murdered. And like this neighborhood is like really like all good people here. Like the town is like really nice. It's like her hometown where the murder takes place. Back 25 years prior, her good friend January, basically John Benet Ramsey, was murdered, and this case was unsolved. Nobody could figure out what it was. Nobody could figure out what happened. It just kind of like it happened. For a while, people were like all over the place and then just kind of got swept under the table. Like nobody really cared, except for Margot, because January was her best friend, neighbor across the street. They were, what were they? They were dancers? Ballet, was it ballet dancers? I think they were ballet dancers in this, not like beauty pageants. But yeah, ballet sounds right. And so pretty much what happens is Margot's trying to find a connection between Natalie and January's death. Basically, she goes back to her hometown because of her uncle Luke, or Lucas, I think is the other like main name he goes by. Uncle Luke is somebody who's suffering from, I think it's dementia. So he's having a hard time remembering people, or he sees somebody and thinks there's somebody else, and so she's going to take care of him. And like I said, it's basically the John Benet Ramsey case. There's lots of twists. It's a really good story. I thought it was good. I didn't do a 5 just because I didn't really think I wanted to do a 5. Danielle also gave this 4.5 stars, and yeah, it's a really solid book. So there you have All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers. Alright, with it being the winter season, I wanted to give a couple of winter books a read, obviously because that's what I do. The first one I read was Felix Blackwell's Stolen Tongues. So this is a book a lot of you guys recommended for me to read. And I gotta say, I was actually kind of disappointed with this book. I think I settled on 3 stars or something like that. We're following Faye and Felix and their engagement at Pale Peak. This was, it was an eerie book. The atmosphere was creepy. There were parts in here where I felt a little lost with like some of the things that were going on, like Faye's childhood at this cabin. Suddenly there was like some, it was just off. It just didn't really, it's one of those books where it's hard to explain. The atmosphere was creepy, the plot was decent, but I felt like the execution was not as good as it could have been. I just felt the characters were really kind of bland. Faye was just kind of like meh. Faye's parents, who were like the main people who are, so basically what's going on is like Faye's having like these weird like dreams and like thoughts in her head, and like there's like this weird creature trying to like get to her, or like it's like making everybody see stuff that's not there. It was just a really odd book, and I don't know, like literally you look at the cover, you think it's gonna be some like creature feature type book, like there's gonna be some weird monster that's stalking both of these guys in the cabin, but literally they're not really in the cabin all that long, and it's just like it just got annoying, and like it definitely wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and so that kind of dwindled the star rating down. I don't know. Maybe it's a book I would give another chance in a different winter season, but I thought it was going to be completely different, and I was kind of disappointed. So, Stolen Tongues, Felix Blackwell. Next up is one that I actually finished on Christmas Eve. We had a lot of downtime between where we needed to go and be and everything. And that is Dead of Winter by Keelan Patrick Burke. So when I put this in, I actually put this in 5-star predictions for 2023. Spoiler alert, I read this before 2023 even started. And spoiler alert, I thought this was a complete, like, short story. It's 7 little stories. I did not know that. So, shows how much I know and how much I read and pay attention. There were 7 stories in it. It ended up being a total of about 4 stars. There's Snowmen, which I gave 5 stars. Doomsday Father Christmas was 2 stars. It's basically with Santa being suicidal. Black Static I thought was a pretty creepy story, but it was really, really short, so I gave that 3 stars. Visitation Rights, I thought that was a really creepy story. That guy gave 4. Home also got 4. The Quiet, I think that story was kind of dull. I gave that 3.5. And They Know, which was the longest story, it was like 30-something pages. I gave that 4.5. Snowmen was the creepiest to me because we're following like this little boy who like sees these 2 creatures outside of his window, not really knowing what snowmen really are, and like he's thinking he's being stalked, and like it ended up being like dangerous creatures, like. But I mean, besides that, I can't really say how much more about these stories. The ones I would highly recommend: Visitation Rights, Snowmen. Home wasn't that bad, and They Know. Those are probably the ones I would recommend for you guys. I really didn't know this was a collection. I really didn't. I thought this was a whole thing. So, whatever. Overall, it's about 4 stars. It's like 3.8, but I'm not going to do a 0.8 of a rating. So, it's going to be about 4 stars. So, there you have Keelan Patrick Burke, Dead of Winter. Alright, next up is a book the author actually sent me. Sent me actually 3 of them. This is the first one I read because it was the shortest. It also kind of seemed intriguing to me. The Potted Plant by Thomas Gloom. It's a really tiny book. It's nice and small. Can actually fit in your pocket. And this book was actually pretty funny and entertaining. I think I gave this 5 stars. Let's see. The girl he planned to marry shattered his heart into 1,000 pieces, and his best friend stabbed him in the back. And basically it's like a revenge story. I want to say he goes to like this, Fiona. This one chick who like gave him a weird plant and was like, these are the parameters. Kind of gave me like Gremlin vibes, where it's like, yeah, you can't like do this. You gotta like feed it small animals for the first while, then give it blood, and then you have to let it not eat for like 3 days or something like that. And this thing like, and what makes it funny is the ending, the twist at the end. Like, you think he's gonna like do something completely different, and then one thing triggers him to be like, all right, yeah, screw it. You know what? Yeah, let's go. And it's really short. It's a novella. Thomas Gloom, he actually signed this, which is cool. So thank you. If you are watching this, Thomas, it was a really solid story, and I can't wait to get to the other 2 you sent me. But this was a really like an entertaining book to read. So there you have The Potted Plant by Thomas Gloom. All right, so the last book I'm going to talk about was kind of a wild card pick to read at the end of the year. I didn't really think I was going to, and I did. The Fireman by Joe Hill. This is a 5-star book. This is basically it's a post-apocalyptic world where basically what's going on, there's this disease called dragon scale. And basically what happens is if you get it, you basically combust and you die. This book has been on numerous TBRs. If you've watched all my videos, you'll know that this has been on probably 7 of them. And that's probably not even an exaggeration. This book is basically Joe Hill's take on The Stand. I had just finished Wanderers in November. I think is when I read Wanderers. So I have now read 3 post-apocalyptic books, The Stand, Wanderers, and The Fireman, and I have every intention of reading Swan Song within the next little while here. And my plan is to do kind of like a comparison video, possibly, and be like, yeah, this is this book, whatever. Probably do a podcast episode on it as well. This book, we're following a woman named Harper who gets dragon scale, and her husband, I don't remember his name, but he's an asshole, and basically, like, and she gets pregnant, and so, like, the whole reason the husband's, like, mad at her, because, like, she wanted to be, like, a helpful nurse at this one place where, like, dragon scale is going around. Basically, if you, like, suit yourself up and, like, you're covered, it's believed you're not going to get it. It's later discovered scientifically, like, you can't get it that way. It's through, like, the spores or something like that. Something in the atmosphere. Like, no matter if you're in an area with it or not, like, physical contact actually doesn't do that. There is one... Okay, memory just refreshed. There is a woman in this book, Carol. She is the epitome of being a bitch. I hated her in this book. So, in Wanderers, there's a couple of people that are like, you know, there's a couple of bad people, but like, okay, whatever, kind of brushing under the table. Randall Flagg in The Stand. My opinion, kind of a badass character, but yes, he is kind of a dick. Carol, in this book, takes that and makes it completely, like, boosts it up. She's just, like, a terrible person. Like, the entire time that she's in the camp, like being the nurse, trying to protect the people, like, Carol's dad's, like, sick, he's, like, in a coma, and Carol's basically like, if he doesn't pull through, I'm keeping your baby, and you're basically getting kicked out of the camp and we're killing you. And like, but I get to keep your baby. Even though Harper really doesn't have like any choice in like saving the father or not. Like, she can do all she wants, but like, there's a good chance he's not going to survive. I just really didn't like Carol. If you've read this book, let me know your thoughts on Carol down below, because I just despised her as a character. She was like well written, but like a butthole. And besides that, this book was really, really good. I was with it the entire way. I really enjoyed it. I don't know what else to say. It was well done, and the pace was pretty, like, get going from the get-go. And, like, get going from the get-go. Yeah, that's a thing to say. Got it going, and it was a really good book. Thought it was solid. Unfortunately, since I read Nosferatu, it's the second best Joe Hill book I've read so far. But it's still a really solid story. So there you have The Fireman by Joe Hill. Alright, so that is my recent reads. I mean, pretty much it's a December wrap-up, but whatever. Read 5 books. Really solid stuff. I already read my first 2 of 2023, and I'm very excited. Can't wait to talk about those ones later. Do McKee. We'll have a podcast episode coming out soon. Danielle just read The Shining, so that's exciting stuff. We're going to talk about that this upcoming week. And, yeah, check that all out down below. Podcast, Danielle's channel, Bookstagram, all that fun stuff. We'll post these 5 books down below if you are intrigued with any of them. Again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.